Hi, welcome. In a narrative essay, you will be retelling a story, or a sequence of events, and communicating a main theme or a lesson learned about an event, an experience, or an observation. The story may be factual or fictional. In a narrative essay, many experienced writers do not use a thesis, as the thesis sentence of a narrative essay may be implied. However, inexperienced writers may find it helpful to state a thesis at the end of the introductory paragraph, as the thesis helps with focus. Follow these steps to write your narrative essay. Step 1. Forming your thesis. Choose a topic. What is your narrative about? For example, an earthquake. This essay is for a general audience. The purpose. The purpose of the essay is to engage the audience emotionally. Focus your topic. Panic and alarm on Earthquake Island. Collect relevant information either through brainstorming and/or research based on the following headings. Topic: Panic and alarm on Earthquake Island. Setting. Make your setting real by identifying time, location, mood, and atmosphere. Characters. Reveal characters' personality through physical appearance, by showing rather than telling, by incidents and/or dialogue. Plot and conflict. What is the structure of the story? Is the character conflict with self, with others, with the environment, or the supernatural? Message or themes. What does this story teach? Climax. What is the most exciting part or the turning point? Resolution. How does the story end? Frame the topic as a question. What caused panic and alarm on Earthquake Island? Answer your question. The answer is your thesis. As they moved towards getting food from the wreck, their worst fear in an earthquake erupted. The cliff dislodged into the sea, revealing the other castaways. Evaluate your thesis. What key words or phrases describe your topic area? Have you placed those key words into your thesis? Your thesis should fulfill the following characteristics. It states your purpose for writing this essay. It is a clear statement about your topic, and it breaks the topic into points. It lists those specific points in the order in which you will discuss them. It comes somewhere in the introductory paragraph, usually at the end. Step 2. Outline your essay. Ensure that you have divided your narrative essay into at least 3 major areas. Each major area must correspond to a paragraph that elaborates an incident. Introduction. Begin with a hook, followed by background information, and end with the thesis. First supporting paragraph. Create a topic sentence using the first key word. Tell your story vividly, from a first-person perspective. Second supporting paragraph. Create a topic sentence using the second key word. Plunge readers into the conflict or problem in the story. Use sensory details and add a rhetorical flourish like a metaphor or analogy. Third supporting paragraph. Create a topic sentence using the third key word or phrase. Move your narrative along to its climax. Concluding paragraph. Move your story to its resolution. Step 3. Write a draft. You should have at least 5 paragraphs. Step 4. Revising or editing. Ask yourself, have I arranged ideas chronologically, time order, or have I started in medias res, in the middle of the narrative, or have I started at the end of the narrative, and used the flashback technique? What narrative perspective have I used? First person, second person, third person, or omniscient narrator? Have I used a consistent tense, either past or present? Have I used appropriate transitions for narrative writing? Time transitions like after, afterward, before, immediately, subsequently, and so on. Place position transitions like above, below, in front, there, and so on. Have I used dialogue between characters to build suspense or emotion? Have I described important characters? Is the character conflict with self, with others, with the environment, or the supernatural? Have I created a unique mood or tone to describe my character's reactions? Have I double-checked my grammar and spelling? Below is your sample narrative essay. The other castaways. I wonder where we are, anyhow? I haven't the least idea, responded Tom. It's an island, but which one, or where it is I don't know. We were blown nearly 2,000 miles, I judge. We would never be able to get home by nightfall. He walked over and surveyed the wreck. Now that the excitement was over, he was beginning to be aware of numerous bruises and contusions. His legs felt rather queer, and on rolling up his trousers he found there was a deep cut in the right shin, just below his knee. It was bleeding, but he bandaged it with a spare handkerchief and walked on. Peering about, he saw that nearly the whole of the machinery in the engine room, including most of the electrical apparatus, had fallen bodily through the floor, and now rested on the sand. As they moved towards getting food from the wreck, their worst fear in an earthquake erupted. The cliff dislodged into the sea, revealing the other castaways. Tom surveyed the wreck, then went looking for food. He came to the realization that the aircraft was too badly damaged to be fixed. We certainly can't rebuild the airship here, he thought. He walked about the wreck, and then returned to his friends. Mr. Damon was more like himself, and Mr. Fenwick had discovered that he had only minor bruises. Mr. Damon declared that he was hungry and wondered if there's anything left to eat in the wreck. Tom decided to get it as he wanted to get a sandwich for himself. As the young inventor was returning to the wreck, he was halted halfway by a curious trembling feeling. At first, he thought it was a weakness of his legs, caused by his cut, but a moment later he realized with a curious, sickening sensation that it was the ground, the island itself, that was shaking and trembling. Immediately, Tom turned back and realized that Mr. Damon and Mr. Fenwick were staring after him with fear showing on their faces. "What was that?" cried the inventor. "Bless my gizzard, did you feel that, Tom?" cried Mr. Damon. "The whole place is shaking." Indeed, there was a stronger tremor now, and it was accompanied by a low, rumbling sound, like distant thunder. The adventurers were swaying to and fro. Suddenly they were tossed to the ground by a swaying motion, and not far off a great crack opened in the earth. The roaring, rumbling sound increased in volume. "An earthquake! It's an earthquake!" cried Tom. "We're in the midst of an earthquake." They began to walk towards the cliff. However, they had not gone more than 100 yards, when they heard the rumbling and roaring and the ground began to shiver and shake. Tom was sent reeling while he saw Mr. Damon and Mr. Fenwick topple to the beach. The roaring increased. The rumbling was like thunder close at hand, and the island seemed to rock to its very center. Immediately the whole cliff toward which they had been walking appeared to shake itself loose, then in an instant it was flung outward and into the sea, a great mass of rock and stone. The island ceased trembling, and the roaring stopped. Tom rose to his feet, followed by his companions, and he looked beyond, toward the place where the cliff had been, and cried out in astonishment. Gathered around a little fire on the sand was a party of men and women. Some were standing, clinging to one another in terror, while some were prostrate on the ground and others were running to and fro in bewilderment. "More castaways!" cried Tom. "More castaways, and," he added under his breath, "more unfortunates on Earthquake Island." He wondered if he would see his wife again. Follow these tips and you are sure to write a good narrative essay. If you liked this video, then hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.